Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
So now we're going to move into family business, which I know that you know a lot about.
Yes.
So for someone who is starting to think about making a family business, what are some things to consider?
Well, I'm sweating, right? So I have a business with my mom, and it's really the dynamics are interesting because she was always my boss in the after school program. She was the director and I was the manager,
Right.
or I was the site coordinator, right?
Yeah.
And then I became the manager, and so she was always the boss. And so now, Mama, now I have become, the lead dog, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's hard, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
especially because she's your mom to begin with.
Right. I mean, she's led me my whole entire life as mom to son, boss to employee. Now we're partners.
Yeah.
And most of the time, we're making decisions together.
Right.
But guess what? The buck's got to stop with one of us. And in this case, the 10% of the time that I make executive decisions, and sometimes she doesn't like them.
Yeah.
Mom, I know you're listening. I love you to death.
Yeah.
And so that's hard, right? I mean, so just to begin with, business is not always easy. It's a process and it's tough.
Right.
And so I would say that's tough, but I've had no greater joy watching these things come to fruition, and how many in one of our businesses, how many youth we've helped together, right?
Yeah,
and so when she passes away, she's going to leave a legacy that's pretty amazing. And just to give you a quick story on this, so my wife's going to an Albertsons, which is a grocery store, right? That's how powerful my mom is. And the lady says, Zandis, are you kin or related to Cindy, which is my mom? And she goes, yeah, it's my mother-in-law. And I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
And she says, well, you tell her that all of my passwords are her name. Now that's impact, right? Now to me, that's way more impactful than to make $1 million or $1 trillion or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she's made a difference in her life in a huge way. To me, that's what business and entrepreneurism and different things about.
Yeah.
But to get back to that with family, so here's the other thing. So I have my two kids, one that looks like you, with shorter hair at one time. They said they wanted to be entrepreneurs, right? And so get them into the business.
Yeah.
They find out real hard. I mean, it's not easy at first. They got to see me later in life where I could, choose to take an 8-week vacation if I wanted to, which I normally didn't because I like working.
Yeah.
But I could. I had choice, right? And so they're like, oh, this is simple and easy. And I took them down, to the dirt.
Yeah.
Weeds, grassroots, whatever. And I made them go to work.
Right.
At the lowest, worst, and they were both like, yeah, no, thank you. We'll wait till you die and take your money, right? Yeah. And then I wake up at midnight before my oldest left, and that pillow's right here on my face like he's trying to suffocate me. I'm like, but anyway, so it's very difficult family business. So I would say that it's going to be a complete walking, come forward and stay there, or a complete dichotomy of a teeter-totter. There's not going to be balance. It's either going to be the highest of highs and the lows are pretty bad. Right. So, as long as you understand that going into it and understand that it's family first, you can say whatever curse words or whatever you need to say along the way, but you always have to come back and meet up for the common goal, which is to help people.
Right, absolutely. And so, when it comes to family business, what would you say has been the single hardest thing?
Well, in my case, which wouldn't be for everybody, is what we talked about. The little grasshopper became big grasshopper, right? Yeah. The mentee became the mentor soda, so to speak, or sort of. Right. And so in that case, so it depends on the dynamics of that as well. If it's a mom and dad's business, and the kids just coming into it and it works out, that's going to be tough in different ways because the younger kid may have some really great ideas, but the older it's like, I don't know, so on and so forth. Whereas my mom and I, we basically built the business together. I started a little bit before she did, but we basically built it together.
Right.
So that's a different kind of thing than walking into the family business where your say that's going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
So in the end, I mean, business isn't easy to begin with, and it can be even more difficult if it's a family business, either direction, building together, coming into it, purchasing it, however you get there.
Yeah.
And so, just remember, your blood's thicker than water.
Yeah.
And blood's definitely thicker than money.
Yeah.
And that's usually what people will get into it about, is either that mindset thing, or maybe it's money, or it could be, well, we should do this, systems, or we should hire this guy. And the dad's going, that guy's a jackass donkey. No.
Yeah.
So, it could be tough.
Tough, yes, absolutely. Has there ever been a time, or however you would say that, where, let's say you're at a family function or something, and it's hard to turn that business off because maybe you were having a business conversation 10 minutes beforehand?
Yeah, and it's funny, and this with you and I, because we'd come home after, not business, but, I coached him for 4 hours a day.
Right.
And Mama's in the middle refereeing us, right? Because it is hard to, what I call, wear different hats.
Yeah.
And so, especially with men, I think we compartmentalize.
Yeah.
So, you and I were pretty good at it.
Right.
But it's never going to be perfect. You're not going to be able to 100% compartmentalize. Okay, I can take off the coach hat.
Yeah.
Okay, I can put on the dad hat. And then I used to always say, which hat are you putting on? And then what is it going to look like? This means you're mad, right? This means you're in a goofy mood, whatever the case may be. This is more, business-like. Yeah. And so not only which hat are you putting on, which is tough, but right? And that's the same thing in business.
Right.
Am I putting on my supervisor hat? Like, dude, you ain't doing your job. Or am I putting on my, man, I'm sorry to hear, that your goldfish died. So you got all these different I call them the hats that you're putting on all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like I used to, say for a married couple, I'd come home with my Rico Suave romantic hat on.
Yeah.
And Mama had the kids that threw up on them and diarrheaed all day. So I'm thinking I'm going to get lucky.
Right.
And she's saying, you get within 2 feet of me, I'm going to sock you in your nose. Right. So not only do you have the hat that you think, you got to pivot and adjust based off of the circumstance, which, as we've talked about many a times, sometimes you hug people when you should have hit them. Yeah. And other times you hit them when you should have hugged them. And that's, what's hard in any people business or business, or just dealing with people or relationships, whether it's family owned businesses, whether it's not, or anywhere in between.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So, I know that you've experienced both, working a business outside of the family with other business partners, and you've experienced working with family.
Yep.
Is the enjoyment different for each one, or is it the same no matter what? So, in other words, do you enjoy it more with the family than you would a business partner, or is it always the same enjoyment?
I don't know. I'm not like a big enjoyment guy. I should be better at it.
Yeah.
I'm just always about the work.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was, had to answer that question, I would say it's pretty close to 50-50. I mean, in the end, let's face facts. We all know about the airplane crash going down. You're going to put the oxygen mask on yourself. And then I'm going to not go to my business partner. I'm going to go to my wife and kids and mom and whatever. But I try to look at a much bigger picture. And, of course, my family's my family. Yeah. But, in God's eyes, which is what I have a lens about and try to look at, we're all his kids. Right. So if I play favoritism towards you versus this guy, that could be a problem. Maybe not for me as a human being, but for God. Yeah. And I want to be able to be more like him than like myself, because I'm a piece of crap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I try to keep that, whether it's enjoyment or whether it's, treating them the similar ways or same way, I try to keep it pretty close in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. Well, thank you for that. Now, when it comes to, so first off, what is the difference between a family-run business and a family-owned business?
So I know a lot of people where their whole family works for somebody else's business. So that they're running it, day-to-day operations and whatever, but they don't own it.
Got it.
But they're running it, and they brought in their mom, the dad. I mean, I've seen it right?
Yeah.
Many a times. When I was teaching school, we had several families that ran several different businesses for somebody else versus, right? I mean, you can. So owning the business and running the business are two different things,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so, does that answer that?
Yeah. So you could have both, right? You could
No,
have a
absolutely.
family-owned business
Yeah.
that is also family-owned.
Family run, yeah,
Right,
absolutely,
okay, got it.
absolutely.
And so before we move on to the next topic, is there anything else that you would like to talk about that I didn't ask you, or anything you'd like to convey to the audience about family business, or anything that that you thought of as I asked questions?
Well, I just think that in the end, business is it's hard work, but it's very rewarding, especially if your mindset to begin with is right.
Yeah.
And the downside is, sometimes you're wondering, like, especially at first, like a startup, like, where's my next paycheck coming from?
Right.
Versus an employee.
Ooh.
So do it within your own comfort zone. If you're not already a business owner, but that's something you want to pursue, then maybe you stick your little toe in and do a little bit of freelancing on the side,
Yeah.
see what you can build. That's how we opened our firm. We weren't business people.
Right.
We went and built one of the best after school programs in the state and the nation. They did like 11 regions in California. And so we started meeting together, and they go, oh, you're systemic, especially our leadership program. Right. And because again, it goes to the person. You're not the best person in the world, but if you don't have a system they can plug into, and let's say the person's just mediocre, that's a problem.
Right.
And so they said, hey, will you start going around? And so sometimes we'd go and train 1,000 people. Let's say January 1st, and the attrition rate was like 40% because these were mainly college kids, younger paraprofessionals. Yeah, it wasn't their career, it was a job.
Yeah.
And we'd go back in 2 months or 3 months or sometimes the next month or a week later, and we're like, where'd Joe go?
Right.
And who are you, right? And so that's why we wound up doing the library of over 400 videos.
Right.
Because live's the best, right?
Yeah.
If I can,
absolutely.
right? Could you imagine? Hey, watch this video and go ride a bike, dude.
Yeah. A little difficult.
By the way, teach your brother how to ride a bike, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir. Gotcha.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
That never air, by the way.
That never aired.
Yeah, Jesus never does any of the bonus questions.